That's wonderful. Goody. Okay, let's see what the Nhlanhla is saying. Good afternoon, Mandisa. Yeah, from Durban. Fantastic. Okay. I think what is the time now? Where is my clock? Yeah, 3 minutes past. Yeah, I think maybe one more greeting. Anybody want to just say hi before we kind of get going with the formal stuff? Osman's from Liberia. Oh, I didn't know that. Welcome all the way from Liberia. That's amazing. That's fantastic. I wonder if you're the furthest visitor.
Thank you very much.
That's wonderful. And Portugal, Rob from Portugal. Epic. Who just in the class? Okay, Lady Smith, that's also pretty far, especially if you have to go there by road. Yeah, who else? Who's the furthest now? Let's see it in the chat. Let's see who's come the furthest. Durban, Cape Town.
People?
Where else have we got? Where else in Africa? Sipho and Tuli, where are you from?
I'm in Maritzburg.
Maritzburg. All right, cool, man. Aldana, yeah, okay. KZN, Bloemfontein. Yeah, who else have we got there? All righty.
Good day, everyone. Speaking to Ezekiel here from Johannesburg here.
Ezekiel, yeah, nice to see you. Great. Potch, Rustenburg, fantastic. Yeah. Okay, that's great. I tell you what, I think we're just going to give it these 5 parts. So if you guys, I got a lot to get through. So if you guys are okay with it, I'm going to get cracking. And so, yeah, so maybe a formal welcome to you guys. Let me just get onto the deck and let's get this stuff going. So, yeah, so just confirm that you're able to see that, guys.
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. Okay, so this is what we're here for, guys. Yeah, let's have a look at the key trends shaping small business in 2024. And maybe just before we get going, just to know, I'm not going to share with you everything that I've learned, because then we would be here for a whole day. But I will be sharing stuff about some key trends, some key global trends, and exploring particularly 5 kind of so what questions. Because it's all very well to say there's the trend, but if you don't understand what it means for you and what you're going to do with it, it's pretty useless. And so, then in addition, I'm going to be giving a few little guidelines on the actions you can take in your business, or if you're an impact investor, what it means for you, what you need to be looking out for as an impact investor, making sure that you're investing into the right businesses. And then finally, for those of you that that stay with me, there's going to be some bonus content all the way at the end. How does that sound, guys? Got some thumbs up?
Sounds good.
Give me a thumbs up. Fantastic. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, let's get cracking. And I think before we go, let's just get a poll. We did get a bit of a snapshot in the chat, but if you don't mind, let's launch the poll, guys, and let's just get a snapshot as to who's in the room, so that we all know who we're talking to. Awesome. So if you guys can just fill in the poll on your side, I think there's a total of 4 questions.
So I've been able to select, but when there's no option
working?
to submit.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. 1 or 4.
Keep trying. I see some people are managing to get on. We've got 4 people answering so far.
My submit button is just grayed out.
Same with me.
So.
Okay. Just bear with us then. I'm sure that tech team at the back end is going to try and sort it out. Otherwise, you'll just have to be a passenger on this poll. But the tech team's going to try and sort it out for you.
You need to have filled out all 4 of the questions for the submit button to undo itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thanks, Craig. So you need to do all 4 questions before you submit. It's a bit like matric, you know. You have to go all the way to the end.
Oh, okay. What do you want to do?
Epic stuff. We're nearly there. 83 people have responded. Awesome. Okay. Still going 100. 102. Cool. Okay, guys, I think let's close off there. That's great. All righty. So let's see what we've got. Let's see. Let's share those results. Awesome. Can you guys see all that? Can you see the responses? Virtually everybody's from Gauteng. 40% of you from Gauteng. So well done for that. Not really surprising, hey, because most of the businesses sit in Gauteng. But a couple of people from Eastern Cape, Free State, Mpumalanga, and one person from Northern Cape. Who's the person from Northern Cape? Put your hand up there. Just shout out. Who are you? You got it? No, too shy. Northern Cape shy. Okay, no problem. Western Cape a couple, and then we know we got Osman from Liberia, and maybe somebody else from another country as well. That's fantastic. And so basically, all of you are wanting to understand about current trends, a little bit about unique insights, and networking. So that's really great. I have six specialists in the area. Please. Yeah, just give me your hands. Let's see who the specialists are, because if I come with some difficult questions here, I want to be able to direct them to you. So who's put their hands up as a specialist? No hands up? Yeah, Moni, go for it. Moni, what you're a specialist in trends? Do you want to go, Moni?
Specialist on fleet management.
You're a specialist in?
Fleet management.
In fleet management, but not in trends.
No.
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right,
Sorry,
great. Thank you.
We don't know how to put our hand up, so I tried to do a reaction, but that didn't work. So.
Okay, manual hand is okay. Who's got the manual hand up?
So the manual hand is Sam Foss. I help with businesses with process engineering and performance management software for their staff.
Okay, but you're not a trend specialist.
I'm not a trend specialist, no.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Any trend specialists out there? Thomas, you got the hand up? Are you a trend specialist? No. All righty. Okay, cool. And then so we have mostly entrepreneurs. You've got 81% entrepreneurs, 81 entrepreneurs. You've got a couple of social impact investors. Welcome. I really hope that there's value in this for you. And some ecosystem partners, and then a number of others. Fantastic. Good. So I think it's a really nice mixture of people in the room, and I'm sure that you're going to get value. So thanks so much, team. We can move on. So let's get cracking with it. I mean, I think maybe just before we get there, I just want to, for those of you that don't know Fetola, essentially in Fetola, we do two things. The first is we helped impact investors to find investable pipeline. So we work very closely with a range of social impact investors. So helping them in order to achieve their impact scores. So whether they're particularly looking at impact, which is social, maybe it's inclusivity for women and youth, maybe it's job creation. It can also be environmental impact, and then a financial return on their investment. So we work very closely with a range of social impact investors, and we're very excited by the work that we're able to do with them. And then the way we help them to deliver is because our other side of what we do is to help entrepreneurs, the many entrepreneurs that there are in the room, to start, grow, and scale successful businesses. And so just to position that. And then for those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Catherine Wijnberg. I'm the founder and CEO of Fetola, and I'm really passionate about helping people like you to succeed. So let's go for it. Yeah, just quickly here before I forget, I usually forget at the end of the deck, but I'm going to just do it quickly now. For those of you entrepreneurs and impact investors, please, if you maybe take a note now that the guys are going to share a link in the thread. And so please take a note, because the closer you stay to us, and the more we know about you, we can really provide to your needs. So really helping the entrepreneurs and impact investors. Just follow the thread that they've shared in the link. So that you can be closer, and you're not going to miss out on things like this in the future. And then let's go. So we're going to talk about trends, and when you Google trends, this is what usually comes up. But we're not going to be talking about fashion trends. What we are going to be talking about is this, and this really is business trends. And so what do we mean by business trends? What do we mean by trends? Basically, what we're doing here is that in order to spot a trend, you usually look at the data, what's happened in the past. So getting some indications as to what are the big things that have been happening. And then what you do is that you include that in what's happening around you to be able to predict whether that trend is going to increase into the future. And so in a very simplistic example, it might be that a small business that's selling shoes has just noticed in the last 6 months or so that there's been a huge increase in the number of people coming in and asking for school shoes. And then when they look around, they realize, oh yeah, you know, because there's this school has just opened in my area. And obviously the increase in school shoes is because of the new school. And then when they ask around, they spot around, they say, oh my word, but did you know that there's a high school coming? And actually there's also another primary school going to be built in the next 2 years in my area. And so then you would be able to say the past is the experience from data that more people are coming to you, and the future is a good prediction that this is a trend that's going to increase. And essentially that's what we do in understanding the trends and then interpreting them to be able to give advice to businesses such as you. And so let's start with the global picture. And so this is a picture of Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament in London. And so this really just reminds us that there is this huge world outside of South Africa, this massive world of the global economy. And it's important for us to understand what's happening there, because what happens outside really does have an impact on us here in South Africa. And so what we need to understand here is that globally, so the global growth is predicted this year by the IMF to be around about 3%. And in Europe, it's not doing so well at all. So Europe is actually down. They're looking at probably less than 1% growth as a whole, because what's happening in Europe is, as you know, there's the Ukraine war, which is over a year now, which is really impacting energy prices. It's causing huge uncertainty and great concern. So rising prices and uncertainty. And then on top of it, there's lots of climate change challenges happening there. I just read yesterday about a town in Spain where their dams have completely emptied and the farmers now don't have water for their crops. And so that's a climate change that's happening. And that's really affecting Europe. Britain, of course, is still got the Brexit hangover. That I think was a foolish decision of theirs. And they're now really struggling to overcome that. In Africa, though, Africa growth is predicted to be quite good. So between 3.5% and 4%. And so that's looking really good. Asia is probably going to maintain about 4.5%. That's a little bit down, or quite a lot down from what it was a few years ago. And China, of course, is struggling. There's still some trade conflicts and some trade big kind of hustling, if you like. So Asia's growing and India's growing. Definitely still India and China are the powerhouses there. But it's still, so they're looking about a moderate growth. America, on the other hand, only looking at 2%. There, of course, they've got a big election, and that's also uncertainty. And the economy doesn't like uncertainty. Just as a matter of interest, there are 64 countries going to national elections this year. So it's a huge year for uncertainty generally around the globe. But if we go closer to home, no guesses that this is talking about the South African economy. And so in South Africa, as we know, we have challenges with load shedding, with water shedding, and also uncertainty about our own elections. Just from a growth point of view, last year, South Africa made less than 1% growth. The figures have just come out today, so it's looking at 0.6% of growth in the last year. It's looking a little bit better for next year, so maybe we're going to make 1%, but it's still not going to be a huge growth year if you're looking at the economy as a whole. Of course, factors like Transnet are a big problem. Transnet's this big blockage. So anybody that's either importing or exporting, that's causing huge constraints. So these are the few things that are really affecting us here in South Africa. And what does that mean? So when we interpret that, the one thing is that this is the South African Business Confidence Index. And what you can see from this graph is that after COVID, so in July 2021, people were quite buoyed and they were quite confident. Oh, yes, we beat COVID. There was a sense that we kind of did better than many other countries in the world. We went back onto a high. People were feeling pretty good. And the truth is, it's just been declining over time ever since then. And in fact, the recent budget that came out was not a confident budget at all. So it didn't bring confidence into the economy. There's not this sense that investors are confident. There's not sense that businesses are confident, and uncertainty certainly is one of the challenges. In uncertainty, people kind of hold back. And so we definitely have seen a trend in reduction of business confidence in South Africa, and I think certainly would be reflected the same in the rest of the world. And that means for us, there's been two things going on at the same time. We had a lot of interesting increases in the last year. I think there were five increases in probably the last 18 months. So increase in inflation, increase in interest, increase in inflation. And so what it means is, if we just take breakfast as an example here, it's saying that overall our breakfast is increased by nearly 10%. So what used to cost us 100 Rand for breakfast is now costing 110 Rand. And as a result of all of these things, consumers have less to spend. So if you're in the restaurant industry, people are going out less to have their breakfast out because they don't have the spare cash for it. In fact, I saw some crazy stats that bananas have gone up by 33% in the period that they were looking, which is a real problem for me because I have bananas for breakfast, not bacon and eggs. And what does it mean? So it doesn't mean that it's not every sector isn't affected the same way. So in these trends, you also need to look a little bit deeper to say, what does it mean to me? And so this little figure here, this graph, is just telling us that the industries that have really been struggling are particularly agriculture. And I don't know if we have any farmers in the room. I'm personally from a farming background, so I'm always really interested to see how agriculture is doing. Agriculture obviously has been affected by things like electricity, load shedding, puts a huge burden on farming, because instead of just being able to use an electric pump, you now have to use diesel, and diesel prices have gone up. And so everything has become more expensive for farmers. Fertilizers will have gone up, seeds will have gone up, all of the expenses have gone up, but at the same time, the producer prices have not matched. So agriculture has been really in a difficult situation. Construction also down. As anybody who is here from construction knows, that business confidence, if you're not confident, you're not going to put money into your house, you're not going to build a business, build business infrastructure. And so business confidence affects construction a lot. But the main thing for this slide is just to understand that when you're looking at the trends, it's not always equal across every sector. This slide is a reminder to everybody who's in the webinar here, and that is that this is just the formal businesses in South Africa. So there's about 1 million formal registered businesses. I think there's probably that same amount in informal township businesses, but just here talking about formal businesses. 739,000 are small businesses. And that's just a reminder to all of you that if you're a small business, you have to be different from these. And part of the things that I'm always saying to our entrepreneurs is you need to differentiate by creating yourself a niche market. So this slide is just a reminder to say that don't just be one of the 739,000, but use the type of information that I'm going to share with you now in order to separate and differentiate your business. Yeah, so this slide now, talking about the main challenges for South Africa for small businesses. I'm sure most of you know this, but let's just quickly flick through. So if we were saying that one of the biggest challenges is access to finance, and we have entrepreneurs coming to us all the time, it's not possible to get finance. If you really scratch the surface, we know that there are many billions of Rand, and I mean billions, not millions. There are billions of Rand waiting to be invested into small businesses, but often the small businesses are not able to provide the simple things like a set of accounting records. So what we find there is that there's lots and lots of money, but the expectations of the lenders and the capabilities of the average small business don't match. The second thing is compliance. I think there's all sorts of compliances in business. I mean, it drives me nuts, and I can't imagine what it is like for a very early stage business that's having to do all the compliance yourself. but certainly we are a very compliance heavy country, and that can certainly hold one back again for accessing finance and accessing value chains. So it's really important that businesses do go through the compliance to make themselves world class, because it's only when you're world class that you can really differentiate yourself. Then the third component is market demand. Again, if we were to ask a room of entrepreneurs, what's your biggest problem? First, people will say access to money. I don't have money. And the second thing they'll say is, oh, I don't have markets. But actually, when you scratch the surface, a lot of the time people can't get markets is because their product is substandard. So the product is not differentiated, or they're trying to sell product into the wrong market, or they're not sure of the market that they should be going to. And so what's really important is that we have professional support programs that help entrepreneurs with quality management. They really start to get the skills that they need in order to reach those next markets, and even export, which we're going to speak about a bit later. Oops, went to the wrong one. So the next thing, the next one is access to skills. So the thing is that anybody's an entrepreneur knows this. It's really hard to get good skills in the business. I do think we have skills sorted in South Africa generally, but as a small business, it's important to know how to attract the right staff, how to keep them, how to train them, and that really is a key component for anybody getting ahead. And then I'm not sure if it's the last one, but anyway, the other one there is access to internet. It drives me nuts when we try to help small businesses out in the rural areas, which we're really keen to do, and they're not able to access the internet because the Wi-Fi is down, in load shedding, they can't get hold of the towers. And I do think that looking for solutions to solve that, maybe Starlink's going to be one for us. Yeah, and then the last one, market access, I've dealt with. I hope this is useful. Maybe just give me some thumbs up in the chat so that I can be sure that I'm on target. Great. So anyway, so now what it means is, so where do we go from here? The question is, there are also some exciting trends. So it's not just those ones which are a bit depressing, and everyone I'm sure in the room is saying, oh my God, why did I join this? Why did I join this webinar? And I was so depressed, so I will just give up, or escape to Australia. Believe me, let me tell you, Australia is not as great as you've heard, and definitely don't go to the UK. I've had a long history of being there. So South Africa is a place to be, and there are some exciting trends, and so I'm just going to take you through those then now. So the first exciting trend is technology. And actually, if you Google something, what are the big trends in the world today? 9 out of 10 of those will be tech related. What I'm excited about is, like, finally, after I don't know how many decades of waiting, finally, technology really is here at the fingertips of the entrepreneur. There are all sorts of tools that we can use, and they're so easy, plug and play. You don't need to be a tech expert. You don't need to be an AI expert. Simple things. If everybody on this call should be using at least ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is like AI for dummies. You literally can go in there, it can help you with prompts for virtually everything. But everybody, the trends in technology are very, very exciting. Not only if you're a tech business, but if you're just a regular business using technology in order to improve the quality of your products. And so, for example, I'll just give you a little example of one of the entrepreneurs we've been working with. There's Puleng Matupa from Limpopo, who comes from a tiny little village in Limpopo. And what he did is he invented a heat box where he helped people in his community to be able to cook for very, very cheaply and very energy efficient way. And what he did, this business in this tiny backwater, what he did is he got on to Takealot. So he's using AI and Takealot. He's now listed with Amazon. He's also working with FAR. He's actually exporting outside of South Africa. And he's doing it because he was brave enough to say, let me become tech enabled. And so these are the things that for every business, I think any business that's on this call right now, if you're not using technology, you're behind the curve. The next trend, I think, which is exciting, and that is that global supply chains are going to be coming home. The fact is, with Transnet blocking everything up, Transnet's really screwed up everything. The railways are a mess. The ports are a mess. You have stories of like dozens, if not hundreds, of ships sitting outside Durban Harbour waiting to offload. There's this huge blockage in the global supply chain. Now, we saw this back in COVID. You would have heard in COVID, you remember everything came to a standstill because everybody was getting stuff from China. And at that time, corporates all over the world said, whoa, this is not such a clever thing to have all of our supplies coming from one country or one factory. And so already back in 2021, there was an intention to diversify. Now with the challenges again, the war in Gaza, the war in Ukraine, in our own case, Transnet and all of those supply problems, those port problems, we're going to see here a big change in South Africa with global supply chains now wanting to come home. In fact, just the other day, I listened to the CEO of Woolworths, who said that they'd have to send their ships, not from Durban, but all the way around to Walvis Bay, which is a huge increase in cost for them. And then they were shipping the containers into South Africa. These are the kind of things that are very exciting for small businesses, because if you really work with a professional team in order to become world-class, in order to really be part of that supply chain, you can make a huge difference. And in fact, we had a business, Sherry from Tequila Golden Bags, who joined us in our SAB Foundation Talawana program back in the day. I think she was one of the first businesses we worked with. She's really done that. She's embraced world-class. She looked at cost reductions, uses technology in order to improve her efficiencies and reliability. And she's a big supplier for Macro and for Pick and Pay. And so this for me is a very exciting opportunity in South Africa. The next one, of course, is renewables. And I don't know if you know it, but South Africa is probably the biggest country in the world for the uptake in solar. There are many trillions of rand, and I mean trillions or billions, that being invested into South Africa, into renewable solar and wind. And this is a huge opportunity. It's that investment into the country, and we need investment. It's that kind of stimulus. And so that kind of stimulus is exactly what we need in the economy. And as a small business, you can feed off this. You can feed upstream and downstream, little things. You don't have to be in solar. Maybe you're in cleaning. Did you know that there's an opportunity just in cleaning solar panels? So all those businesses, all those people, like in my complex, so many people have got solar panels. By next year, they're going to be working half as well because they're dirty. So there's an opportunity for businesses just feeding into the supply chain. And in fact, again, just using an example in our circular economy accelerator last year, we're really delighted to be working with Hleziphe and her company In Pursuit Renewables. So she's an electrical engineer, and she then created a business that specializes in infrastructure development in renewables. And she's got some huge contracts working with banks and actually also taking her business outside of the country. So not only in South Africa, but I think, let me get it right, Uganda, Zimbabwe, and Ghana as well. So there's it. Guys, if you just think of anything in the value chain for renewables, because this is a big, big growth opportunity. It's very exciting for us. And then this one is the interest. So I spoke earlier about climate change concerns. I think anybody, unless, I shouldn't be rude, but anyway, unless you've got your head in the sand, you can definitely see climate change as a big challenge. It's not just a challenge for us today. It's going to be a challenge for our children, and certainly a challenge for our grandchildren. And so what is exciting is that as people around the world, and particularly corporates, are seeing that climate change really is a challenge, people are putting their hands in their pockets in order to introduce sustainable practices. And we've had some incredible results with our circular economy accelerator. I have to tell you guys, the performance of the businesses in the circular economy accelerator, I think, was 3 times greater. Their profitability was 3 times greater than the businesses in the regular sector. So again, if you're a business if you're looking to do something different and you really believe in the future of the planet, really find out more about circular economy, because it's extremely exciting. And just one of the businesses that we worked with there is a company called Plant the Seed. So Plant the Seed has a business specifically providing waste management to schools. And they've come up with some really innovative ways in order to educate people, to help people do the right thing for the planet. Is this landing? Are you guys enjoying this? You good? Mary, I can see your face. So give me a thumbs up. You good? Okay, wonderful. Great. Excellent.
Right.
All righty. So then what is the other exciting thing? Africa actually is very, very exciting. And so there's obviously highs and lows. South Africa down the bottom, we're just a little bit bumping along there. But what you probably didn't know is that there are 11, listen to this, 11 of the 20 high growth companies in the world are in Africa. And this is the list of them down the right-hand side. So it's really that, we have these exciting growth nations in Africa, but also we have the Africa Free Trade Agreement that's coming up. And so for those of you that want growth, don't just keep your eyes on South Africa, really look at moving into the rest of Africa, create partnerships, get out there and make it happen. Hey, Africa's the place to be. Alrighty, I think I've spoken a little. Let's just break for a little bit to see if there's any feedback or questions. Anyone just some thoughts on that? It's sparking some thoughts, or let's just hear from you guys. Anybody, any hands up? Anybody want to make comments? Questions? Yeah, Sam.
Questions in the chat, Kathy.
Kathy, there's some questions in the chat.
Okay, let me just make that up. Okay, but let's just take a voice. I think we had Sam had his hands up, and then we'll go to Nkobile after that.
So, Catherine, when you talk about the access to finance, is all finance always done on an equity basis, or is there loan kind of structures available to small businesses as well? Because many small businesses don't want to give up equity to secure funding.
So Sam, so I don't know if you're particularly talking about our access to finance. So maybe just to be clear, so we help. Currently, we have a Nedbank Green Fund where we're specifically providing actually it's grant finance into sustainable businesses. So that's grant, not debt or loan. We also work very closely with the SAB Foundation. They have an amazing fund. They're working in conjunction with Jobs Fund. And what they're doing at the moment, they're only working with businesses that have come through their pipeline. But that is like soft loans. And then we have a small fund of our own as well. So that's what we do as Fetola. But generally what you will find is impact investors are not always looking for equity. So, I mean, I think there are many different ways to cut the dice there, Sam. The most important thing is as an entrepreneur, you are ready. Because what impact investors from the whole of in place. They can't even give a decent set of financials. They've their future projections are really weak, and that becomes a problem. Have I just gone into load shedding? I wonder. No. All right, guys. If just let me know if my Wi-Fi is down. I need to plug something else in. So just let me know if that's a challenge. I hope that answers your question, Sam. Let's go to Nkobile.
Oh, hi, Catherine.
Hi.
I just out of interest, what has been your experience with entrepreneurs in the pharmaceutical and medical manufacturing space? Yeah, I was keen to see some trends in that area, but I have not. Yeah, so I was hoping that you'd cover that part.
So no, thanks, Nkobile. And we have had experience with that. I find the pharmaceutical industry incredibly closed. So I don't know at what level you're operating, but it is a very closed, it's almost like a secret society. And so our experience is that there's definitely an opportunity to succeed in that space in the more alternatives. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to become a niche market supplier in maybe more towards traditional or health-based pharmaceuticals. But yeah, it's a bit tricky to answer just off the bat. I think generally, so you'll see a little bit later, I'm going to speak to health, but I hope that's been of some use to you as a response.
Okay, no, thank you.
Yeah, okay, thanks. We can pick it up later, but I think that's you'll see later. I do refer to it. Okay, let's go to who was next. I've got Anthony Julius. Yeah, go for it.
Hi, thank you, Catherine. I hope I'm not repeating the previous question. So I'm a dentist, so I'm actually the president of the South African Dental Association. So yeah, I'm also curious to see any trends in the medical and dental space. So I'm surprised we don't see anything there.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. Thanks,
There
Anthony.
is
You know,
pros-
it is really tricky. It is really tricky to cover everything. So just as a context, actually, I've got 3 daughters. My youngest daughter is a medical doctor. I think that one of the trends you're going to see is that as the government medical services become a bit depleted and the quality is reduces, you're going to find more and more access through private and alternative practice opportunities. Yeah, so I again touch a little bit on that further down. But access to health, caring for health is going to be very important. I think there's 2, as you know, there's 2 very big stories. There's the story of health solutions, low-cost health solutions for the people that are not wealthy, and then there are commercial solutions for everybody else. And I think it's very important to be talking to those 2 different trends. I hope that was obvious for you. I think I'm going to go to I don't know how to say your name, Mushfika. Is that right? Okay, good. That names are so important. So I hope I got that right.
It is. I interviewed you once at Fin24 for entrepreneurship.
Right. Yeah, of course, yes.
So just a quick one. In terms of, I think it's very important for small businesses to also know the consumer market, specifically in the small business space in which they're going. It has changed dramatically. Specifically, if we look at I'm a financial journalist. If you look at from what the input that we've been getting from consumers, even that consumer spend is different in every sector. Whereas first we could sort of say the consumer confidence is up or consumer confidence is down. Consumer confidence is down. I think that's where South Africa is right now. So now we actually have to, and I think it's very, very important for small businesses just to realize that you have to, now it has become even more important to know your audience. To know 100%. Your potential clients. So I think that there's a lot to be said for just investing in tools, again, AI, investing in technology, investing in knowing your audience. And then just as a quick one, because I wear many hats, in terms of dental and medical and pharmaceutical, there's a lot of opportunity in terms of funding that seems to be coming up in the BRICS, from the BRICS countries. For that as well. And I think if you are in those industries, please watch out for that. BRICS is I've seen it. I work I work as head of comms for companies in the BRICS space. And so I've seen that come through. I've seen that come through in terms of specifically dental and pharma.
Yeah. Super. Mushfika, you should have put yourself as an expert when you filled in the form.
I'll send you an email afterwards. We'll do a nice article on this.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, I have to hold now on the questions. We'll have a chance for some more later. But I think if you're okay with it, I think the main thing is that, as I said in the beginning, I can't talk in detail about everything. We would literally be a whole day just on that. And what I'd like to do now is to get actually a little bit deeper. And so if it's okay with you, I think let's get cracking. Okay, so the next thing is like, okay, now so what? So you've all had these questions. What does it mean? You know, what does it mean in my sector? Or what does it mean to me? And the reality is, as I said, trend is just a trend until you've interpreted it. And so what I'd like to do now is just take a little bit of time to go into some of my interpretation of the trends that are rolling around. Before I get there, just quickly, I think before we get into that, it's really important, again, to trend, you need to contextualize a trend. So for me, the first thing here, a trend, you need to be confident. The speaker spoke about it just now. How do consumers feel, but how do you feel as an entrepreneur? Are you confident? Are you confident that you're doing the right thing? Are you confident in your decisions? Confidence becomes really important as part of a growth tool. The next component is a market. We spoke about that. Again, Mushfika, thank you so much for that. You should be on my team. It's about knowing, so market is not just a market. I did say earlier, it's really important to create a niche, to know who your client is, where your clients are, what they need, and make sure that you have a product that's going directly to them, that you don't have a product that you're just trying to sell to everybody. So really getting the market right is a key component to success. The third component is your model. So that's everything inside the business, making sure that your quality systems are right, your systems are right, that you're producing, that your efficiency of your production and your operations is on point, your planning is right, all of those things. And then the last thing is when we get this right, we're able to not only make money, but to access money. And so it's just important, I think, as we go into interpreting, let's just think of this in terms of what does it mean for my business? It's not just a trend, but how would this change the way that I actually run my business? So the first interpretation for me is value for money. Everybody is looking for value for money. So I told you those global trends, the South African trends, consumers don't have much, even corporates, I don't think there's a corporate sector that's awash with money. So everybody's looking for value for money. So what that means for you as an entrepreneur isn't that you have to cut your prices. That's not what it means. What it means is that you have to look at doing things like the circular economy practice, which is reducing waste. So can you reorganize the way that you do business? Can you reorganize your factory? Can you reorganize the way that you cut your leather? Vincent, for example, so Vincent Urbain is on the call. He has a leather making business. And so for him, it's about saying, how do I eliminate the waste by cutting differently? That's the first thing. Secondly, if you have waste, how do you repurpose it that it's not a cost to you, becomes a value? How do you re-look at waste in order to make it into a product? Then the second thing is, can you add guarantees? So if you're going to keep your price, so if you improved your internal efficiencies, right? So you're producing better stuff, if your quality is better, so you're cutting out waste, how can you add value? So it's about adding value. Can you offer guarantees? As I said to some guys in a workshop the other day, do you offer guarantees? Nobody put their hand up. I said, why? Is it because your product is rubbish? And then I chuckled and said, no, my product is really great. I'd ever get recalls on my product. So if you don't get recalls on your product, why aren't you guaranteeing it? And you can add a guarantee, that's value for money. And then there's other ways to do that as well. But I just want to speak to an example of exactly this is Trudy Mkansi. So Trudy Mkansi from Ambesha, Africa. She's a outdoor furniture maker. And she actually joined our SAB Foundation Tolowana program initially. And then she came on board our Circular Economy Accelerator. And when she came into the Circular Economy Accelerator during COVID, she realized that using circular economy practices, she could reduce her waste, but more than that, she could turn from being just a manufacturing business to being a manufacturer and a repairer. And by looking at this, she offers a lifetime guarantee on her frames, which is amazing. And she also offers a repair service. And so what she's done is that she's now increased the value for money for her product. She's not just selling a pool couch. She's selling a pool couch that's got a guarantee, and she can, and there's quality that people can really see and appreciate. And so value for money, guys. If there's one thing you're going to take out of this, it's value for money. Everybody's looking for value for money. Make sure that you deliver it. The second thing that people are looking for is trust, transparency, and traceability. And what does that mean? If you look around the world, everybody's looking to buy from businesses that they know, like, and trust. They want to know that if you say that you're doing a good thing, that you really are. And so what this means for a business is, if you're saying that you're a green business, or maybe you're saying that you have ethical practices in your factory, you need to be able to show it. And so one of the ways you can show it is that you can take data. So data is really important. So if you are saying that you are reducing energy, or you're creating jobs, or you only use fresh products, whatever it is, you need to be able to show and to prove that, measure it, and show that data. And you can do simple things. Maybe you have a factory, invite people on a factory tour. Be open, show people, because people want to know that when you say that they can trust you, they want to be able to see through for that. And this also then becomes part of the ESG environment, social and governance structures. So just being able to, if it's important to you, show it, make it visible to your client. They really appreciate that. I have some examples. I'm just worried about that we're going to be out of time. So I'm just going to skip through these slides if you don't mind. The next real important trend is the ease of doing business. And I'll give a simple example. All of you on the call, how many times in the last 6 months have you gone onto an app or gone into a shop or gone on a website and thought, oh my hat, the service is so bad. This app is so clunky. I mean, hello, where am I supposed to go next to click the button? Or you go into a website and it's slow to load. Or you go into a shop and you're kept waiting and waiting and you walk out. We're so quick now as consumers, we want things to be like that. When, 30 seconds is too long to wait. But if you walked into your business, what do people see with you? So the question here is what you can do to become that business that's easy to do business with. And there's some simple things that you can do. Yes, technology is really important. Use technology. So if you have websites, use chatbots, use AI chatbots. Use technology in order to make it easy for you to do business. Have a look, get someone to look at your website, get someone to look at your app so that the process is really simple and easy. I want to just give you an example here. We have one of our SAB Foundation Tolawana businesses, Letabo. His company is Walk Fresh. So he's youth-owned and he's a boutique sneaker cleaning and shoe care business. I mean, who would have thought that he could use technology? And so what he's doing now, which is really exciting, is that he's got a system, he's got an app mechanism now where he's got automated notes to his customers to say when their shoes are ready, when it's due for them to come in for another round of cleaning. And so this very simple shoe cleaning business is using technology in order to make it a pleasure, make it a delight for people to do business with them. This is the third of three really important trends that you need to know as a small business. Then the fourth one is safety and security. I'm sure if you see around you, like everybody's anxious at the moment. We're anxious about wars. We're anxious about climate. We're anxious about water. We're anxious about not having enough money in the bank. We're anxious about cybersecurity. Only this week, I had fraud on my debit card. I had to shut down all of my personal accounts. I still haven't recovered from it. So the point is, everybody's anxious. Know this. And as a business, do everything you can to make your customers feel safe, for their data to feel safe, and of course, for your environment to be safe. And if you're in that business, this is, again, huge opportunities, a growth opportunity here. You can be in walls, you can be in fences, you can be in cybersecurity. It doesn't matter. There's everything that's related to this is an opportunity. I mean, just one thing. So we have a company on one of our programs, Be African. So she makes honey, but she doesn't just make honey. She makes health-related honey. So she adds extras to it. The people that are afraid about their health, this is something that she's really feeding into. Yeah, so I mean, I think that those are, for me, I think it's 4, maybe it's 5. For me, these are really key things. These are interpretations as to how you can build this kind of thing into your business. Does that sound, is that landing, you guys? Yeah. Landing useful? Great. Super. All right, so let's go on now. Then I'm going to just go on, and then we'll take some questions after this. So for me, what's really important to understand is that we've spoken about the big trends. I've given you some, like 5 key things that you absolutely have to take notice of that are going to, in fact, impact your business this year. And then what I want to talk about now is the counter trend. Because every time you have a big trend, you'll always have a counter trend. And I'm going to give you some examples of that. So the big trend here is everything's automated, right? Technology everywhere. We know this. I mean, just so Checkers, I just read something yesterday, like Checkers, as we know, it's like taking the whole retail sector by storm. They're using data. They've got an amazing AI system. So they're using data. So if any of you use Checkers 6060, what they do is that they're using AI, they find out what your personal preferences are, and then they send you send you specials on it. They're really using amazing things with AI. But against that huge push for automation is going to be a counter trend, or is a counter trend, for personalization. And what does that mean? That means that people want a personal experience. They don't want to just be a number, right? They don't want to just get stuff online. And so what it means is that if you have a shop, make the shop the experience. Remember the old days when before COVID, when people used to go to the malls for entertainment? Now they go to the mountain. But now this is about saying, make your shop the personal experience. Make your business a personal experience. Make it one-on-one, warm and fuzzy. That's the very, very key counter trend to automation. You could even host shop parties. So, have parties or events in your shop, and really make it personal, because people, especially after COVID, and we all do all of this working from home, people want to reach out and they want to be one-on-one, they want to be touches. The next counter trend is this whole thing is about globalization, right? So we know Amazon's taking over the world. Elon Musk is taking over the world. Everything is this big globalization. It's all about global. There's one big global market. The counter trend to that is localization. People don't want to just be a number in the world. They want to feel that it's home. They want to feel warm and fuzzy. They want to, they want a sense of belonging. People want to belong. And so here the thing is it's really important to improve, or to again create a niche market. So anybody, things like Bunny Chow. I saw somebody, I think there's a franchise now for Bunny Chow, but things like, so things that are very feel local, you feel at home. Maybe it's to do with your personal culture, your environment, whatever. It's about there's definitely a trend towards localization. It could also be, maybe even if you're just in clothing. I know there's a big trend now. There's an increase in people looking for traditional clothing, whether it's torso clothing or pedi or whatever it is. But certainly localization, that's a very important niche market. And then the next one is insecurity. So we spoke about safety and security. So everybody's feeling insecure. There's this huge fear and anxiety. People are stressful. People are really stressed out. The counter trend to that is escapism. So, and escapism, basically what we're looking here is about hope, love, well-being, maybe travel and sport. And so the counter trend, let's get into that. And so the way that you can be doing this as an entrepreneur, it's important to be optimistic. Be that space where people come and they feel good just dealing with you, because you feel like the counter trend to fear. You're not fearful. You actually can exude optimism. You exude confidence. You can also be, if you're in the well-being space, and I think there's a huge growth in that, so well-being, wellness. We spoke about pharmacy. I had a quick touch on that. I think certainly alternative products in the wellness environment sector are doing really well. In fact, the business just below us, they just before COVID got into health products. Wow, they're really booming. So we can see it tangibly in the business below us. But also sport. I think there's a huge trend opportunity. Again, if you're creating a niche market, look for the sport niche market. I know everybody's into soccer, Formula One's coming. But look at that, look at business opportunities, making opportunity in sport, because again, that's something that's very much a counter trend to the fears and anxieties. Arts and craft also is one. So arts and craft, again, going to those intimate traditional skills. That's also very, it's very nice. It's going back to a safe space that's opposite to this kind of fear and anxiety. And then anybody's in travel, I don't know, there's quite a few of you from the Western Cape. They say that this year is the best year ever for tourists. And so we're definitely seeing the counter trend to fear is escapism, and travel is one of those. So yeah, looking for opportunities in your business for that is a really good idea. And then the last thing is, the counter to technology everywhere is going back to old school. And so that's literally actually exactly this. We're actually seeing vintage cars like this driving around in convoy in Cape Town, those little sidecar motorbikes in a simplistic way, but going back to old school, going back to the old school way of doing things, handmade, handmade watches. That's definitely a counter trend and a super niche market for a business to look for. And yeah, so I think, and then I did, so I did say that I was going to give a bonus. And so the bonus actually is just to let you know that the top Shopify products, I think up to 17 are actually following these trends. So you can see vitamins and supplements, skincare, makeup, that's all to do with homeliness, feeling warm, feeling loved, coats and jackets, definitely things about, again, like homeliness, bicycle sport, posters and artwork I spoke about, candles, you know, all of these things. If you look, these are all really, the focus is very much on the counter trend for insecurity to security, to safety, well-being, and love. So yeah, so maybe any questions on that? Any thoughts, any queries? We have a few minutes now to take. I know I cut off some people earlier, but yeah. So Edwin, you want to go?
Yes, good day, everyone. So from what I'm picking up to so far after this meeting, I can see that the business confidence from the people that have joined this meeting is very low. And then I just think there is something that is missing, which is marketing strategy from everybody else.
Thanks, Edwin. I didn't understand that the business confidence is low. I don't know. I'm not sure that I agree with that. I think what we were just saying is that generally, as a country, confidence is down. I think one of the purposes of a session like this is to exactly flip that over and to say to everybody, whilst the general sector may be feeling a lack of confidence, there are all sorts of opportunities here, and I've run through some of them. There are all sorts of opportunities that are very exciting, because the reality is in every problem, there's an opportunity. And that's one of the beauties, is that there's in every single challenge, there's an opportunity, because as a business, our job is to find and solve problems. So when there's a problem, I get excited about it because that's a business opportunity. Of course, marketing strategies is part of it. I don't have time to go into the specific details for everybody, but certainly part of what I've tried to outline is exactly that. So where you should be looking, how you should be looking to position your business, and then the next stage would be getting in there, as you said, with your marketing strategies. So thanks for that input. Let's go to Mems. I think you were next.
Good afternoon, Kathy, and good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, thank you so much for acknowledging the work that we do at Be African. But most importantly, I appreciated the concept of counter trends, especially as you were explaining escapism. And in a way, I felt validated by our growth strategy, which speaks to beekeeping, tourism, attraction. You know. So thank you so much for thank you so much for mentioning that. I've really learned a lot from this session. Thank
Wonderful. You. Excellent. Thanks, Mems. I'm glad it sparked something with you. That's wonderful. Yeah. Mahal Kabini, do you want to go next?
Yes. Good day, everyone. I hope you're doing good. Yeah, I just want to touch on a few points that you mentioned. Firstly, I'd like to thank for this opportunity. It's been lovely. So when it comes to cybersecurity, you touched that one. When it comes to security, I think the biggest thing that it's actually coming, and most of our entrepreneurs, they are too relaxed on it, I can say, because even big institutions, they get cyber attacks.
Yeah.
See, so it's something that I want to encourage entrepreneurs to actually look at and try to actually have information and clue on how to deal with it and how to actually protect their data.
Mahal, is that your game? Are you in cybersecurity? Are you in tech security?
Pardon?
Is that your game? Are you in tech security? What business are you in?
No. I'm doing farming, but I'm also in the financial sector. Yes, but then on my financial sector, that's what I actually picked up, because I'm dealing with people's finance and confidential information. Yeah, so
Nice.
that's why I was like,
Love it.
yeah.
So maybe in future we need a webinar just on that. I think that's a great input. Thanks, Michal. Thank you so much. Who wants to go next? Buti Shabalala.
Yes, thank you very much, Kathy. Yes, and everything is gelling in. So thank you very much for your workshop. Just two quick follow-ups, and one is with many different sectors in the group, I think everybody's asking the question on where can I go to keep following and understand the trends in my sector? Is there even AI that helps in tourism, funding, wherever, to kind of follow and understand this type of trends? And then the follow-up question to that is, one of the trends that I've noticed is around the so-called influencers, people who've got big following in social media and God. What is your take around influencers? Do you think they are also playing a role in bringing up the confidence of your spenders or our clients?
So, so two things. Personally, I think it's critical to be confident. I think one of the most disappointing things for me with our country at the moment, and when I looked at the recent budget, is there's no confidence coming. We're talking ourselves down. If you look at the media is talking us down. And as a country, and particularly as entrepreneurs, we need always to be talking ourselves up. We need to be confident. We need to speak with confidence. We need to see opportunities and share them. So I think the first thing is, if influencers are increasing confidence, it's a good thing. I think on the other side, as a business, you need to be cautious to link your brand to an individual person, because I'm sure you know examples where that wonderful influencer today becomes a negative brand tomorrow. So just be a little bit cautious if you're going to be linking your brand to influencers. Don't let them have too much influence over your future. Thanks, Buti. Nice input there. Super. Let's go to Rendani. Oh, Tefo, sorry. Tefo was next. Either whoever's fastest on the draw.
Good afternoon, Catherine. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Tefo. Lovely to see you.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity and for this platform that you've actually opened up to not just SMEs, but also specialists in the space of either enterprise development or within the business industry as a whole. So I think for all the SMEs that are online here today, this is actually a great opportunity to open up our businesses to the possible or in future trends or in future growth opportunities that could actually assist SMEs into moving from the old traditional way of doing business to the new thing. Because now, if you look at, you mentioned something about the COVID era. We've moved from the COVID era. Now we're moving into a new space of technology, and I think this platform, it should have actually not just been online, but also being an actual event whereby you've got all your big companies being involved and getting to deal with the trends that are actually happening, because they actually need SMEs like ourselves to
Thanks, Steph. Thanks, Steph.
That's
really nice. That's a really nice suggestion. I'll be honest. I wanted to put an event a year ago. I wanted to do exactly that, and I'm sure it will come in the future. Because corporates spend millions every year in trend spotting and in analyzing the trends for themselves. And as small businesses, we don't have access to that. And often we spend so much time doing and just getting the business going, we don't have enough time to lift our heads to look for these things. And so I will be doing this every year. And yeah, let's hope. I think you've planted a seed. Let's say this time next year, it's in person. How's that? Will you be first on the ticket line? Excellent. Great. Okay, super. Nice input. Thanks, Seppo. Rob, go for it.
Thanks. Yeah, it's quite interesting what you're saying about the positivity. I've had a lot. I'm the Portugal person, obviously South African. And what's interesting is I get a lot of queries from South Africans wanting to open businesses in Europe. but none of them are wanting to close their South African operations. None of them are wanting to move here. They are all wanting to live in South Africa, keep their current operations going, but open new up. They've seen the opportunities here.
Yes.
What goes along with that is people don't realize how many South Africans. I run a bunch of Facebook groups, and I think I've got about 20,000 South African businesses based around Europe and Australia and the UK. I started a UK group, and it was like dead. And then within 2 months, it went from like 300 to 3,500 members. So there's a lot of South Africans with businesses. I mean, I get more adverts for Cook Sisters from the UK than I get from South Africa, and when I lived in South Africa. So it's amazing how many people still want South African products. So there's a massive opportunity over here for South African business.
Nice.
Thanks.
So Rob, please give your details on the thread, because I think anybody, there's going to be people in the room that have products that they want to get to those South Africans in your Facebook groups. So that sounds really exciting. So those are the kind of partnerships that I'm really excited about, is because when we work together, we can really go places. Thanks for that input. Wonderful. Rendani, yeah, let's go for you.
Hi, Catherine. Thanks for the informative session. I just want to allude to the growth of the e-commerce sector in South Africa. I think that is one sector that entrepreneurs need not overlook. If you check at the trend, the giants of e-commerce are coming into the South African market, like Amazon is launching soon.
Yeah. And
I believe the potential is huge for the growth of the sector, because if you look at the informal economy, which has just recently been quantified to be somewhere around 750 million, there's still a huge potential there, but the constraint is that in informal settlement, there are no definite addresses. So that is one blockage, that if it can be unraveled, we can even see more growth in e-commerce in the country, because the e-commerce is really taking off. You go to rural areas, you go to townships, people are buying online. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks so much for that, Rendani. Absolutely. I think e-commerce, again, if I just said, I gave that little example of the business from that tiny village in Limpopo, who's now on, he jumped onto Takealot already, I think 2-3 years ago. He's now with Amazon. He's going all across he's actually also got he's working with Spar as well, which I don't think is e-commerce, but using e-commerce as his platform, he's already like growing his business. It's amazing. So two things, I think you're totally right. E-commerce is here. It's here to stay. Get with the program, get onto it. Yeah, I think nice input. There was something else you said that I really liked, and there is a challenge. So you've given an indicator to a challenge, and that is that people in the township want to purchase, but they don't have fixed addresses. There's a gap in the market. So yeah, let's keep an eye on that. Sounds like you're an entrepreneur that could solve something and make a good business there. Lovely input. Thank you so much. Namvuyo, go for it. Nice to see you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. That is very, very, very interesting. A lesson for me for today is the word that you kept on saying. It's about confidence. And the question that I asked was, how do we get confidence? And as a business coach, that's the area that I am particularly passionate about. How do you get confidence? Confidence comes from getting information, but applying that information. It is about getting the information and applying it. And the more you get the information and the more you apply it, that's the more confidence you are going to have. So it is a challenge for us. You've shared so much information, very useful information. And for us to then be able to say, okay, from this that I've learned today, what am I going to learn more about and what am I going to apply? and then gain the confidence from them.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nomvuyo. As you know, I'm a real believer that business confidence or entrepreneur confidence is the beginning of success. And so I totally agree with you. Getting information, like I've tried to share some of it here for you. But the second thing is hang around people that also want to succeed. Make sure that you join peer groups, entrepreneur peer groups, like be part of the Fetola ecosystem, because we really want people that want to get places, and we understand you. We're entrepreneurs ourselves, and we understand entrepreneurs. So yeah, I think that's a really nice input. And so I think let's just then close off if you're okay with it. I'm just going to go quickly back to the deck. Just a couple of things I wanted to share. Last couple of things. So here I really wanted just to remind you that we've got another webinar coming up in a month's time, and this particularly is focused. It's actually especially focused for impact investors, but it would be interesting to other people that have an interest in circularity and sustainability. And here, what we're going to do is share with you some of the results that we got from our Circular Economy Accelerator. I did say earlier the performance of these businesses just out of this world. So we have some data on that, the types of businesses that succeeded, and we're going to be having again some tips and information as to how best you can become a successful business in the circular economy, but especially if you're an investor, where the investment opportunities are and how to work together in order to maximize those. And then the last thing I wanted to say is really just to end off. I have said to you before, at the beginning, I said, join us, come on board. The guys have shared the link. Please join. As Nomvuyo says, part of being confident is mixing with other confident people, getting the information that you want. And so we're offering you on a monthly basis webinars just like this, and many other benefits when you come into our living room. And so I just want to leave you with this excited child. I feel like an excited child. I hope you do, and I hope that in this webinar you found something that informed you, that inspired you, and gave you some action points in order to turn your business even more competitive as you go into 2024. And so really that's it all for me. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed being with you. Make sure that you join a professional team if you want to get ahead. And please come on board. I'd love to see you as part of our accelerators, as part of our ecosystem, and in more of our events like this. Have a fantastic day, everybody.